today we've got new buildings going up. We've got abandoned locks behind us over here that are really abandoned. We've got locks being restored, we've got dry docks being restored, we've got new canal line, we've got absolutely everything. Keep watching. I'm back at Pewsham on the Wilts Berks. We've got the Carpenters workshop there. That's coming along really well now. And in front of us, we have top lock. Now, top lock is the top of the 3 locks here. And this has been going on for a while now. This waiting wall was built last year and into this year. And then they built the side walls up to here. And now we've got an accommodation bridge going across the top there. They are almost at the point there where that's ready to go. And you can see through the lock here, I won't go into it, it's fenced off this time, but they've been cutting brick slips in on this side because the lock was too narrow. Where it had moved over the years, you wouldn't have got a boat through. So they've had to rebuild this entire side, but that's coming along really well as well. But it's ready for the bridge to be built above. So just at the top of the bridge, you can see the supports here. This is concrete blocks. You've got the start of the bridge going up and across. So this will be the kind of highway across the top. Down here you've got the angled bricks starting. So this is the start of the arch going across, which will go over from this point here across to over there. And again, you can see the supports in there. So this will be a brick arch bridge, traditionally built, and this will carry an ambulance, so they can have an ambulance down to the classroom just over there. So next up on the site is the Carpenter's workshop. That's just behind me here. Now this is slightly different to how it would have originally been. I think it's slightly bigger. So you've got you can see the difference in the roofs just above here, look. So this section on the end is new. So this is going to be a kitchen, a toilet and stuff like that. And the main body of the workshop is going to be a classroom. The idea is that they can bring kids down here and educate them about the canal and everything going on, which is great news really. They've been working hard on this. It's coming on very well. Let's hear from Howard about the current progress on the cladding.
Hello Steve, yes, this is Howard Wilson. I'm the chairman of the Melksham, Carlton and Chippenham branch of the Wilts Berks Canal Trust. What we've got here, as you can see, is the north wall of the Carpenter's workshop. We've now fully clad it in the larch wainy edge cladding. We've taken the scaffolding down, so it actually looks a lot better than it did with the scaffolding up. We've used the larch cladding really just to try and make it as authentic as possible, as it was in the 1850s, 1860s when the original Carpenter's workshop was here. And it will dark or turn silvery over time, over the next 12 to 18 months. But we're certainly quite pleased with how it looks. We've got the wooden window frames in now, and we've just got to get the glazing done. But it is more or less fully weatherproof, at least for the winter.
I won't go inside today because, as you can probably hear, people are working in here today. But the inside just here is going to be like a brick floor, which is original. So trying to keep the main workshop exactly as it once was. They found when they were digging this area out, they knew it was here, but from some old tide maps, but they didn't know exactly what was going on. So they found the brick flooring, and I did get some drone shots of it last year as well. So what they want to do is, although they couldn't reuse that floor, it's largely missing. They knew that's how it was, so they're trying to keep it all originally how it was.
Okay, we're now up on the top of the scaffolding, and as you can see for the Carpenter's workshop roof here, we've now completed using the reclaimed Welsh slate to tile the annex part. We've also added in the ridge tile, so this is now completed. This is now completely weatherproof, and we're now starting to work on the main part of the building. Just started to tile that. All the felt and all the buttons are on, and so that should be completed in the next 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully, weather permitting. But on the other side, we'll be fitting solar panels. These will be away from the towpath, so passers-by won't be able to see it, but they'll provide us with the necessary electricity and power that will require to run the Carpenter's workshop.
So huge thanks to Alpha Boilers, to Plumbase, to Ideal Standard, who have all supplied boilers and toilets and sorted all the stuff that's going in here. This isn't going to be fitted out now till maybe March next year. Unfortunately, with the delays they had with the contractors that were on site, it's pushed things back a little bit, and they need to get a few things in place. They need it secure before we throw a boiler in. But I'll be fitting that for them. But thanks to the suppliers who, like I said, who did supply that for free. So one of the jobs that really needs doing down here is middle lock. Now middle lock is the worst of all the locks. There's not really been a lot happen to it. It is very overgrown, and they have done some clearance work to the entrance to this now as well, which I've never seen before. Now middle lock, I've never seen like this. This is the clearest I've ever seen it, which probably isn't a good thing. So the growth in it over the years, it was deemed quite dangerous, so they didn't really want to do too much with it. If you look at these old shots, you can see just how overgrown it was. Those trees have blown the brick faces completely, so it's just almost like a mud hole now, unfortunately. And the wall below where we are here, just down on sort of this bit here, is completely bowed, so the lock is a complete rebuild, unfortunately.
Okay, we're now down at the dry dock, and we've continued work on this. And we've completed most of the coping. We've certainly completed all the coping that's necessary to be able to put the roof on. The roof is going to be oak beams, oak posts, supporting an oak roof in an A-frame, and then that will be tiled. Because we're now approaching winter, we're not going to do anything now until the spring of next year, when hopefully we'll get the oak ordered and we'll fit the roof.
So this is all done with concrete copers, so the original coping stones are long gone. They would have had some sort of covering over this back in the day, and they think going with the oak framing and the slate roof on that is probably similar to what it was. Nowadays there's a lot more standards you've got to adhere to when you're rebuilding. So this was cast in, so these supports here, the oak beams are going to go down over these and bolt in through these holes, and this is basically concrete and rebar. Last time I was here they were casting just over here somewhere, but they've done all the bits including the curves at the end. So this is all ready for the roof, but like Howard says, they've got to wait for the weather to be right to do it. You don't want to put it in when it's still wet because you can get twisting and stuff, so it's not very good. This is where you'll drain off down through, and you can actually see brick bottom. I've never seen that before, so that's pretty cool. So this is all still there. They've just left the mud in here to protect it. Once the roof is on, they will dig this out and be able to restore it completely to its former glory. You can see on the entrance here, they've still got one of the old copers here. This is a proper stone coper, which has been in place. And this leads into bottom lock, which is thought to be probably the next project. There's been some votes on this recently, and they have to basically rebuild this entire wall. This was restored years ago by the original trusts that were down here. There are some issues with it, so that's no longer usable. So the plan is to take that completely out, I believe, and rebuild that wall. Hopefully that'll be done next year or so. If they can get that done, they might be able to start storing some water up in a pound above us here. You can see the old brickwork down here actually. I assume this is the original wall that was they built this on top of previously. They cleared a load of this last, it might have been this year actually. There was a big tree in the very end of the lock, and lots of other bits growing through. Let's drop down then, and I'm not going to cover this canal on this bit here, but we go to the next section now, which Howard will tell you about now.
Okay, we did some additional work down at Naish Hill, which is at the far end of the Pewsham Locks section, which would really extend our current length of canal that we have in water. It was actually excavated 18 years ago, but because of lack of volunteers and concentrating on the main part of Pewsham Locks up here, we haven't been able to do anything with this. And we had a lot of willows that were starting to grow extremely quickly. So with an increase in volunteers over the last year or so, we found some time. We spent 2 solid weeks taking out all the willow trees, and it is now actually back into the shape of a canal. You can actually see there's a canal there. Strangely enough, even though it used to be in water, 4 days after completing our work, we had some really heavy rain, and the canal did fill up to a couple of feet, which was nice to see. So it does show that the clay bed is intact. So there's still some work. We still have to repair a culvert, and we still have to raise the towpath as well. But basically that's going to be another 600 metres or so of additional canal that will be in water.
So here we are, we've got Double Bridge just behind us. This is kind of the end of navigation as such of the canal here. So right here we've got a big bund, and this is stopping the canal from where we just walked from. This section now ahead of us is what Howard was talking about, and this is the culvert here. So the culvert comes down, you can see the fenced off area there, and you can see where there's a little slope. There's a hole in the culvert down in there, just kind of where that clump is down there. So that keeps this section drained. But if you'd come down here sort of 2 months ago, this was not completely overgrown, but there was certainly growth inside the canal bed. But why are they chopping down trees? Aren't we supposed to be helping the environment with these canal restorations? Yes, the canal channel helps massively with that. The trees are fast growing species generally in a canal bed, and they don't really do a huge amount for the ecology of an area. Now, when this is full of water and bringing lots of other wildlife in, it's going to be a much better habitat down here with the trees on the side and all the tree planting that's been done around here. Now, another Howard Yardy, is in charge of that for the whole trust, and they're creating this massive bee corridor. And last year, you may remember an appeal I did, I think it was last Christmas, and this was for trees, and it was match funded by Aviva. Now, Howard got quite a lot of money through that. The trust got quite a lot of money, and they've been spending it down here, planting trees, everything, and creating this huge nature corridor down in and a meadow down here. So what they do though, when they chop out, is they keep all the stuff, and this is called a dead hedge. Now, a dead hedge is basically a hedge made of dead stuff. But what you've got here is you've got the stakes in the ground which hold it in place, and then you weave all this old branch in, and then you fill it with old leaf litter. There's a bit of mud and earth and stuff. That there is going to be teeming with life next year. Everything, bugs and all that lot are going to move into this. They can top it up as it rots down, and this sits above an area called the meadow, and you can see just down there at the bottom, if I can zoom in, they have a scrape. Now, a scrape is basically an area where they dig out, and in that hollow that's dug out, they leave it, and during times of flooding and heavy rain, it will fill up, and you create a damp area which attracts all sorts of amphibian life and everything. So it's a really good addition to this sort of meadow area. There's lots of wildflower planting and management and cutting and stuff going to turn this into a meadow. And then if you look in through here, you can see lots of planted trees and stuff, which is part of the Aviva fund all over there, and they're dotted all through this environment. We're walking into the sunlight here, so it's quite hard to show you, but basically this channel goes off down towards Laycock, and it goes past Queen Camilla's house. She's a patron of this canal. The King and Queen are actually really good on canals. They've helped loads of different ones across the country, from the Cotswolds to here and lots of others. So they are really supportive of the canal network. But if we turn you around, you can see this clear channel now. This means that once this towpath's sorted, it's a bit low in places, as you can probably see a dip over there. And once the repairs are done to the culvert over there, this can technically be filled. There's no need for any more spillways down here at the moment. The clay bed looks to be good. Give it a year or so maybe, get some funding in to do this, then we should be good. So I'm going to give 5 memberships away to the Wilts Berks Canal Trust. All you need to do is answer a question and put a comment in the description of what it is. So what is the Carpenter's workshop, which we saw at the beginning of this video, clad with? So you've got to do, put your name, and then I'll try and contact the winners. I'll pick them with some sort of random generator, and if you win, you can then contact the Wilts Berks Canal Trust, and I'll pay for your membership for a year. That's for single memberships, not joint ones. So from a really cool new stretch of canal, an area that's having loads of work done with the Carpenters workshop, to the bridges, the locks, everything. It's a fantastic amount of work down here. Please do support the Wilts Berks Canal Trust. Their links are in the description, and have a good day.